snap it. We got the screen shared. No. Oh, well, guys, what's up? What's happening?
What's up?
What's going on?
Casey, Andy, how you guys doing today? Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it's been a week, man.
Thank God I need a break too.
Yes.
Well, this is Rolling Thunder. It's episode 12, and we've got a special guest tonight, guys. He's a pretty well-known gentleman, enclosure designer. Does some crazy builds. Does part of some crazy builds, including designing enclosure myself to design the enclosure in this man's here, Casey's box, and a pretty cool dude. We've got the legend himself, Mr. Drew Jones, with us here tonight. We're going to go ahead and pop him in. He's waiting in the green room. Boom. What's happening, sir? How you doing today, Drew Jones?
What's going on?
What up? Rolling, man.
I don't know about legend, but I'm here.
You know, I use it kind of sparingly, but you know, you have a pretty well, renowned amongst the community.
Sounds like something legends would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh Lord.
But cool. So this is episode 12. So we get in here. We've a lot of times we have a special guest on the first time. We like to do a small interview on them first, and we'll go ahead and kick it off here in a second. We'll go and talk about what got you into car audio, maybe some of your first builds. And I like to do this for a lot of people that are in the industry because it humanizes a lot of them and shows them, it wasn't always Drew Jones just these crazy, walled off builds or your insane SQ builds, stuff like that. There's processes and learning stuff along the way. And I'm glad to have you tonight, man. I appreciate your time joining us. I think it'll be a cool episode. What do you guys think?
And then it turns out he just has been doing this since he came out of the womb.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you don't know Drew Jones, you're sleeping under a rock. So
yeah. He's like, well, it started with me playing with cardboard boxes, and then, but no.
And then it immediately dove into walls. It was crazy. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, he's like, I literally built a cardboard wall in my bedroom. Like, my parents are like, you either gonna get this out of here or get out one. But no, I mean, it's like, how did it start? Dude? Like, we found out a lot of these people either had somebody in their lives that were taking in at car audio, or they ran into that one car that just like blew their mind or something like that. What got it started for you, man?
Well, I've always been into music. My dad is a musician, so I've been around music and live music my entire life, and just had a love for cars at the same time. So they kind of made sense. They went together, and I heard a pair of Rockford P212s in a extended cab S10 or Sonoma. I don't know, 15 years ago now, and I was like, yeah, I want that.
Nice.
Gotta have that.
The Rockford did it for you. My mom had a box 2-door Blazer, a white one, with 2 Rockford 15s on a Lightning audio amp. That's what it was like. She drove that when I was a kid. Had like the Rockford DVD 1 fold-out screen on it. We could watch Shrek the movie in it. It was like, yeah, those P2s were cool. You talking about the 2005 ones, like the carbon-looking cone on them, where it's like I don't know, they're pretty cool. Well, I guess it would be that because when they first came out, P1, P2, yeah. P3. But hell yeah, man. So that just did from there. So you took in you heard the Rockford stuff. I'm a previous big Rockford guy.
Started, of course I tried, put the home speakers in the parents' vehicle, did all that stuff that we did back in the early 2000s, and just kind of kept doing small stuff until one day I went out to scraping the coast for the first time when I was 15 or 16. Went with a buddy of mine, and I heard Brett Arsenault's truck for the first time. It was a 4 DD 9515s on 4 original M3s with a bunch of kinetic batteries. It was the first proper high 50 vehicle I ever heard, and that was it. Had to have it. No questions at that.
It's funny you say that. It's actually, too, the first 150s plus vehicle I heard, too, was Digital Design, the 9915s, and there was 2 15s and an extended cab S10. And they actually had 4 Rockford T4000s in the bed, and that was actually
nice.
Yeah, and like I sat in that. That was the first actually like 150s, and like at the time, it being like 06, 07, they're like, oh, that's like that could hurt you. You're like, oh my god, guys, I didn't even tell people at school this thing can like stop your heart, dude. And that'll do it, man. So
oh yeah,
that you said you're scraping a coast 15, 16. What translated it into Drew Jones buying car audio, and what was that to begin with? So like, what was your first setup, and how'd that go?
First setup was actually before that. It was 4 Infinity reference Kappas, the original Infinities that had like the square bar in the middle of it. I can't remember the exact model number. I got 4 of those from a guy out in where I live in St. Francisville named from AP. He had them in a square 2-door Blazer on 24s. Man, he was just killing it, especially for back in the day. 24s were huge.
Mm-hmm.
I got those from him, and it started from there. Went to those, got some P1s from a local shop, And I just kept adding stuff used after that.
That's how it all starts.
Did you do a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff in the used game to begin with, or like?
Oh yeah, I mean, I still do. I mean, that's where the best deals are.
Bro, it sounds like we need to have you on for Scrapyard Base Wars one episode. Are you familiar with what we do on that or no?
All
right, dude. So we take, I'll give you a rundown real quick. I ain't gonna sidejack too much. So we give you like a limit, and it works out the more people we have, the better. Usually the 4 has been our good 2 so far. So we'll be like, hey, you got $500. You have to take Facebook Marketplace. You have to get a sub box and an amplifier for $500. You do a trunk setup, a hatchback setup, and a shallow setup, and then we kind of have somebody judge.
Cigar Joe.
Yeah, Cigar Joe is one. Andy's done one. It's been pretty cool so far. So you might be interested in that one. But so you like the used stuff? Yeah, we'll get you in on that.
Oh yeah, I mean the nitro that I originally the first wall I did in it, everything in there was used at first.
Did you design your own wall back then? Did you design that wall back then?
Yeah, me and Julian kind of put those numbers together in his living room in Kansas, and then we're like, all right, that looks right. Let's build that, and we built it in his driveway over the course of like a week.
Jeez.
Heck yeah, man. That's what's
the
up.
first interesting thing to happen in Kansas in years.
Oh no, Julian was actually pretty loud before then. He was doing 59.9s legal 8 years ago with SSA Zcon 10s.
Holy crap! How many?
8. So on 4 of the original Crescendo 3000s, I think.
Oh wow, those are cool.
I missed that question that he asked. Something about the dude at Kobe.
Yeah, he's talking about where you were saying, like, do you like bass? Or apparently I've heard the story multiple times now, and like the dad got pissed or something like that. Were you at the dinner with JP at sundown?
When they had the guy and his kid leave.
My memory's pretty old. No, I don't remember. Which is a shame because I wasn't even drinking that day. I was just tired.
Yeah, long day. Any rate, so that's
So they had sat down with us at the table. So it was like all of us were there with JP except for 2 seats, and they sat these 2 random people there. And I was like, "Hey, you like bass?" And the dad was just looking at me like I had asked his son if he wanted hardcore illicit substances.
Oh wow,
yeah, that's funny.
And then when the waitress came, she was like, "Hey, would you like to move?" And the dad was like, "I think that'd be for the best."
That's what's up, man. I've heard this story, and I laughed multiple times on that one. It was a good. I like the live stream I did on that one. But heck yeah, man. So you already got into your systems and all those things, and so you're going up along the way. What point did you start designing boxes? And you say you had a friend help you design it, or what's it kind of start the interest in it?
When I say we designed it, we kind of just drew it on a piece of paper and was like, all right, that looks about right. Let's do that. We weren't even sure of the exact airspace in the enclosure until we were basically done with it.
That's how it goes a lot. I mean, when you're learning though, man, I remember like as a kid, man,
at that point, the Nitro, that would have been my 3rd walled vehicle. So I mean, I wasn't new to it. That was only 4 years ago at this point, and I'd built multiple walled vehicles before then. And that picture that you initially shared on accident, that was at one point the world's loudest all Rockford build that we did when I worked at Innovative Audio.
Come on, this guy here.
Yeah, that was 6 T215s on 3 T2500s. It did a 58.8, in 2011, 2010. So I mean, that was at the time. Rockford confirmed that was the loudest all Rockford build on the planet.
That's insane, man.
Damn.
My dad was actually a Rockford rep from 96 to 06. That's how I got into the whole Rockford stuff.
Oh,
and that
nice.
kind of sparked off that's why I collect those T2s or the Rockford power amps, those T-Gray amps, because I was a kid, man, and I wasn't familiar with other big name brands at the time. I just knew Audio Bond and stuff like that. And I'm like, these power amps are the best things they make in the whole freaking world. Little did I know there's other stuff out there, but we got quite a few people in the chat. I'm glad to see.
Yeah. What did you do for explicit? Do you
stuff.
Install or build or design?
Oh, at the shop?
Yeah.
Sales.
Oh, really?
Yep. I'm a fairly decent salesman whenever I want to be.
Yeah.
So it's sales, and then once the dude who hired me left, I took over store manager position for a while.
Nice. That's what's up, man. And then that's like a learning tool and experience along the way. And you're taking
I mean, doing all that. I went to some Rockford training, so I was really up on the latest technology, including at that point the 363 had just came out, so I was really up on that.
Yeah,
I was
remember
doing
going to training for that too.
I was doing stuff with the 360 that Rockford really wasn't aware that it could do, if that's the way to put it.
Yeah.
So with that Isuzu, so it was 3 rows of subs, and Mike Singer had told me, hey, you need to phase align the rear subs, the front subs. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Let me figure that out. Well, Rockford amps don't have phase knobs. They have phase switches, 0, 180. I was like, all right, well, how can I phase align this if I can't adjust the amps? All right, well, the 360 can do phase. Maybe I can do that. And Rockford tells me, oh, you can't do multiple sub channels. You can only do a pair of sub channels. I was like, all right, well, what if so I was thinking about it. I'm like, all right, what if I label them mid basses and just change the crossover points low enough to work at subs? And that's what I did, and it worked. So I was able to phase align the rear subs, rear, middle, and front to the front, and it gained a dB and a half below 30 hertz and gained like half a dB a peak. It was sick. So at that point, Forrest, I don't know if he's at Rockford anymore, but a guy named Forrest from Rockford would call me for some for the high level technical stuff on 360s because I was always messing with them.
That's impressive, man. Wild. That's actually, they're hard to learn, man. I remember even just 5-6 years ago, I guess it was 5, maybe, I guess it is 5.
The 360 is not that hard, Scott.
No, dude, when they first came out, dude, and they were having to, you couldn't even, there's a lot of updates that's been done to the tuning software on those, dude.
The original software was for sure awful.
Yeah, dude, and you had to use a laptop, and it was older shit laptops in, so you're breaking out this brick in your freaking car. But I
was busting out the laptop back then, man. I feel like we were just talking about that though with the phase alignment. Like if you're running tear amps or something, you could run a 363 and then assign your channels differently. You can do the same with the audio control too.
I mean, or you could just not run tear amps and you'd be doing
that better. Too. Yeah.
I'm not ever gonna say anything bad about the brand like that, but I'll put it for instance in this one. I bought one tear amp my whole life. Okay, so it worked, and I was using it for a temporary amplifier just for a very short period of time. So I installed it. Casey and I were like, man, this thing sounds great. It's awesome. We go to the gas station, okay? Leave the truck running, come back outside, the amp's like screaming, freaking out. Like it literally lasted like 4 songs.
I was so one of the Rockford reps at the time, Chuck McClendon, Rockford was one of the companies he repped. He worked for a rep firm. So they were thinking about picking up tear amps. So he gave me like one of the original HD 3Ks. This is 8-9 years ago. He's like, hey, try this. Let me know what you think. At that point, I had that maroon truck with a big AGM bank and all that stuff. I was like, all right, I'll try it out. It worked for 14 minutes altogether.
Wow.
The reason mine died too, though. I should have known better. It's the 5-volt preamp. I'm assuming is what killed mine. As far as
now that I look back, I had a 800 PRS, one of the original Pioneer Premiers from back in the day, and it had a 1 billion volt pre-out. So, and Lord knows I had it turned up. So that's probably what killed it.
Sure, but it doesn't change the fact of it. But regardless, so that's cool. So at what point did Besa Halls come in the mix, or at what point did you start getting aspirations of like, hey, this is something that I want to do professionally?
So
and getting knowledge on.
Basaholic, just the name, just started as a forum username because I can't spell that great. Because I went to public schools in the 49th ranked school state in the country. So I just couldn't spell when I was 14, 15. So that's how I spelled it incorrectly. So I was like, I'll just roll with it. Once I learned that it was spelled wrong, I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. It's just a username. I'll just roll with it.
Too late.
And then and then I had the logo made just so I could put stickers on stuff. And I made the Facebook page just so people could follow what I was doing. It had nothing to do with business, nothing to do with making money. It's just so people could follow what I was doing. And that was it. And I was working in Afghanistan at the time.
Oh, wow.
I think it was Afghanistan. I was like, all right, I'm bored. I want to figure out something I can do besides just playing Fallout 4 for 100 hours a week.
Yes,
Fallout 4.
Yes,
I'm like, let me see what I can, let me do something to be productive. So I started just doing designs for free. And then I was like, oh, well, I should charge like $20 a piece or something. Because I was there for 3 months. We worked 3 days in the first month. And then they're like, all right, you don't actually have to work. Just don't come in the basement. And we'll pay you your full rate to be here. I was like, okay. So that's how it started. Just I wanted something else to do besides just playing Fallout for 100 hours a week.
The now
that's pretty crazy. How long were you in the military?
No, actually, I was working Innovative Audio. This guy came in for a quote for an install. It's like $14,000. Big sound quality build, Rockford T5s in the front doors, T4s in the back doors, all power series, everything. Like super expensive system.
Wow.
And long story short, we did the install. I did all the tuning on the 360, all the install on that, and a bunch of work on it. He was impressed with it. He was like, "Hey man, you want a job working overseas?" I was like, "Yeah man, that sounds really realistic. I don't have a passport, but sure." Well, he shows up 3 days later with passport paperwork and money to get it. I was like, "Oh, you were serious?" Well, all right. So when I got my passport a month later, I was in Saudi Arabia working for him for for 8 months straight. Yeah.
What?
Doing so basically car audio, but encrypted communications installation and training for the Department of Defense.
That sounds so sketchy.
It sounds super sketchy, like there's no way, but yeah, it's just the guy who owned the company we're contracting for just lived 15 minutes up the road.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's insane, dude.
So I did that for a couple of years, and in that time span, whenever I started designing for people doing this and that, that's when the Nitro got built after Afghanistan, because that was in 2016 after the flood happened here. Man, it all just lined up perfectly, I suppose.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. To take it in, that's pretty cool. So by the time you got back from Afghanistan, was that something you're already seeing? You're already charging for the enclosures, or no?
Yeah, I'd say that I was maybe charging $20 a piece, doing a couple here and there. It wasn't really a main focus yet, just because I was only doing maybe one a week or something like that, and I was making all my money contracting, so I really wasn't worried about making the money. I was just worried about contracting. And then
it's fun, side stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So I come home from Afghanistan. The flood had happened like a month and a half prior. My Cobra had flooded. All my stuff had flooded. I was like, all right, I don't want to be in Louisiana. This place kind of sucks right now. That's why I drove up to Kansas in the Nitro, because the only reason it didn't flood was a buddy of mine who was also contracting had came home. He's like, hey, can I borrow the Nitro for the weekend to go somewhere? I was like, yeah, take it, whatever. That's the only reason it didn't flood, is because he was out of town in it at the time.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So I heard that Nitro too. It sounded great.
Dude, the Nitro is still I sometimes enjoy listening to it more than the Tahoe, just because it's so, the way it just grabs your chest is a lot different than the Tahoe.
And it's got all the Cab 2K still, right? Or the 1600s?
No, it's Cab 2000s, 8 of them at half home.
Right.
Nice.
Those are awesome.
Mokel had a slew of those in the fire truck for a long time.
We're gonna run those. We're gonna run those for a while until the new Solo X's drop, and then we're doing 4 Solo X15s on 8 Cab 4500s probably.
Damn,
that would be insane. Yeah.
Each coil.
Yes. Are you gonna strap them?
Yeah, so it's gonna be 2 4500s per sub, strapped at whatever the probably like.
And you can phase match those too, right at the end. Phase match.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't really need to phase match a whole lot just because it's a flat wall, but phase match the right. If we change the phase on the right side a little bit, it does gain like 0.2 with the same power level at a 60. So I mean, it helps.
It's awesome.
Wow.
But the goal is to be one of the first people to do a 60 with new Solo X's.
I mean, you got
like the next day.
I mean,
like the day after they launch.
Whatever day they ship, we're going to cut the baffle out and have the other baffle waiting, because it's going to take a little bit of effort, but just the baffle just comes in and out with a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
Nice.
So swap the baffle, put them in, do 60.
That'd be
awesome.
sick, dude.
At what point did you start making the investment and stuff? Did you use SketchUp and everything the whole time and all those jazzes to make the designs?
No, actually, I initially started just literally drawing them on paper, like on grid paper. Like, it was to scale, but it was just on grid paper. It was super basic. That's why we really wasn't charging much for them or anything at first. And then in between, so I must have the timeline kind of messed up with Afghanistan and all that. But anyway, in between one of the contracts, I was home working, like designing stuff here and there. Like, damn, it'd be nice if I could just make enough to pay the internet bill with it or whatever. Hunter Martin made some post comparing what I was doing to what he was doing. And he was like, which one looks like a more complete design? And I was like, this bitch here. So that's when I relearned SketchUp and started doing SketchUp again. It was after Hunter called me out on it.
Nice. That's pretty good,
That's
man.
hilarious.
So if you had to take a guesstimate, what is Baseaholic's enclosures sold or designed number at, do you think?
I can tell you a fairly rough number. Give me 1 second.
Is this total overall?
This will be.
Or since you started using.
This will go back until 2017, August 2017. It looks like.
McMillan.
And this is just This is just gonna be a rough number. So.
That's fine. Not that it's a big deal or anything like that. I took in that. Figured to get a guesstimate would be cool. And after we do that, I think you sent me some pictures earlier. We'll probably take in heavy
6,128 folders are in this, so you can assume each one of those is a design within reason. So 6,000 something.
Oh wow! Congratulations,
is that
man.
all?
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, it's
a lot.
I never anticipated the demand to be what it is, but it's insane. I love it.
Now, I'll use that as a segue point to a talking point I had. The 6,000 enclosures, man, that's an insane number. Do you take in, where do you foresee Baseaholics going, or where would you like to grow with it? And then on top of it, what kind of I know you get pretty well overwhelming feedback of positive stuff. Is that's something you like getting I'm sure you like getting the tags, the people reach out to you, this sounds insane, it's, I'm impressed, and just or for instance, when you got Casey's demo, you saw all the pictures online, you saw the whole thing come together, but when you actually sat in that design,
that's my favorite. I love it. I love just people telling me that they enjoy the sound their enclosure makes, or they enjoy listening to their enclosure that I designed, because it's, in the end, I love bass, and I love the community. I love everything about music. So knowing that I help someone else enjoy that the same way, it's just that's the best thing. I love it.
And just a little live review too. I haven't had to change anything on my enclosure, not even a little bit, and I actually forgot to do the 45, so I don't have 45s in the board.
That'll be all right.
Yeah, and
45s are generally just for strength anyway. They actually don't help much with score at all. So
yeah.
Nice.
But now I want to hear yours with that new amp that you say made it even louder and lower than before.
Without clipping, it's doing on legal on windshield. It's doing a 59 at 27 hertz.
That's ridiculous.
And it's only 13K.
So it was taking it. I was looking out the window, on the right window, and he started playing something low. It was slapping my shirt on my neck so hard it was stinging. I'm not even joking.
Oh Lord!
It's just so windy, dude. I just don't understand.
Oh, that's what I love to hear, man. I do. I love it.
I'm not windy.
But I mean, you talked about hearing good stuff. I mean, it's great to hear good stuff, but actually, I don't mind whenever people tell me, "Oh, this didn't work" or "that didn't work," because that just helps me learn more of what to do, what not to do. Because no one's perfect. Anyone who says they're perfect and then they don't make mistakes has already lied to you.
No, what I liked about the design a lot too is that we're under recommended specs. And I've always had best results out of smaller boxes. It's always for low frequencies too. So I mean, we're pretty under specs that's recommended on the ZV6. I mean, was it 7 cubes that's recommended?
No, you'd actually be really shocked at the range that
it's insane.
ZV5 is what I have the most experience with sub-wise, because I have 13 of them and I've used them in all kind of applications, but we've ran them in anywhere from 3.25 each to the Nitro is almost 5 per sub.
Jesus. That 12 or
and they
15?
They say 7 or
15.
Something.
15, okay.
That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, they can. Most subs can work in a super wide range, and even with Sundown's recommendations, that's just a very.
It's like a manufacturer safe area, yeah. Just when you look at from an audio engineer spec sheet when they print it out, it's really this wide range, and then you get obviously a peak performance or a performance you want to do in a certain range that you want to do.
That's one thing I struggle with trying to explain to people sometimes is, it says, they say they recommend this, but they recommend it for what is the thing, because everyone has a different goal or different music style,
and from a manufacturer standpoint, how safe they want that enclosure tuning to be.
Exactly. So everything the big manufacturers recommend is safe.
Yeah.
It's just like buying a preloaded manufacturer enclosure, that's preloaded from the OEM. They're going to plate that A, it's going to be like a higher range, but B, they're going to make sure where you cannot unload those subs and bottom them out and all that stuff.
Exactly. Whereas if you take the exact sub that's in there out of that and put it into a custom enclosure designed for what you want it to do, it's going to perform better. Now, is there a higher chance you can damage the sub? Absolutely. But
well, again, that gets into like the enclosures roll off and like the octave of tuning going down. Am I correct? Like you're going to gain the lower bandwidth, but you're also losing up top, and you get more towards like mechanical limit. Am I correct or no?
Yeah, being closer to mechanical limit is what most OEMs try to avoid. Because the closer you are to mechanical limit constantly, the quicker stuff breaks. And that's one big failure point with a lot of subs these days is mechanical failure, whether it be the coil, suspension, cone, whatever. Because one, power is very cheap these days, super cheap. Power is, I think power is too cheap.
It is. Honestly,
Star calls it speakers and amps by the pound. So I mean,
power's too cheap, so people can. It's super easy to break stuff. Like you can get an SFB 8K for $700 or how much it is, and people will just throw it on to a single sub because the amp was cheap enough to do it, and they break the sub, and they're mad at the sub.
And they get a dual one.
On
like, what do you mean I can't wire this like half on daily? Yeah,
exactly.
And the thing is crazy. Sorry.
And that was actually someone said something about the put on just the battery comes in the car is one thing that people who buy the asset, like any of those Terry AKs, any of them, whatever, any of those 8 to 10Ks or 13Ks, they're super cheap. They then think that the electrical can be cheap, but the electrical would need to generally cost more than the amp did at that point.
They lost efficiency also.
And that's whereas that's why it's more. I think it's more common to see the SFB or the Terramps failures is the people who generally buy those amps aren't then willing to spend the $1,500 that is really needed to run that amp properly. Whereas someone like Casey who buys a Salt 12K, so whatever retail is on $3,000, you're more willing to spend the money to properly support it.
It's also behind 4 times cost of build on the front side of it though too.
Yeah,
you know?
Like you can basically take your like charge and discharge rating, and what your alternator output is, and you can kind of do the math to kind of get an estimate of how much power you can like safely draw from your batteries. That's what a lot of people they don't realize, but I mean, it all comes down to math in the end. So I just did the math, and I was like, okay, I'm good for 20,000 watts, and I never go under 14A. I'm only clamping like 14, 15K though.
Yeah, mine's 17500, dude. I never go below. I can never drop it below 14, just on one. It's like what I should have been doing that a long time ago. For when I was about Slam, if you remember when I had the 275s and the 180 amp hour, I was like down to 12, like that. But
I mean, I'm used to low voltage, man. Because I've been doing this for a while. I've been running big power for a decent amount of time. The nitros, the last system of the nitro before we did the cabs and everything was 2 Sundown 7500s at 0.25 on 6 AGM batteries. So I mean, 10 or 11 volts are perfectly normal.
That's what's crazy though,
0.25 too.
Yeah, but going back to it though, man, like of course it depends on what you want to play at voltage wise. Like, but when I was doing my first big build, I had 6 excess power, the D3400s. I replaced that with a 140 amp hour EH5 in game.
And you're like, oh my god, life is so good.
I had this huge ATM bank, replaced it with this one tiny little thing, and it just blew my freaking mind. But
I mean that's basically what we did in the Nitro. We went from 6 of the XP 3000s to a single Yinlong 80 amp hour.
I love the Yinlong right now, man. I'm having great luck.
And it's safe. You can sleep.
Yinlong is safe. That's all I care about. Safe.
You get enough discharge. Like 10C is enough, and that's safe. You know what I mean?
Going back to the cheap power thing, I think it really is true. It's not fair I wouldn't say not fair. It's kind of silly to say it. It's different time to be getting into the car audio or even getting back into it. When we got into this, dude, like I didn't even have 1,000+ watts system until I was like an adult, pretty much, dude. And something also on a 2-sided coin. Yeah. Some of the best sounding systems I've ever had have been under 1,000 watts RMS totally.
I mean, my Duramax is the best sounding thing I've ever owned, and it's well under 1,000 watts constantly.
Let's dive into that a little bit.
Oh,
on the Duramax, I like what you got.
I love that system right now. So it's the Kicker QS component set, the 6 3/4 set, along with a pair of Karma Mobile Audio Aspect 3s, all running active, so 3-way active with Kicker IQ amps.
Sick.
And then a JL Stealth Box inside the center console with the sub as far forward as it can go underneath the dashboard.
I've seen those. Is that a 6.5-inch sub or 8?
10.
It's a 10.
It's a 10 W3, yeah,
Yeah, I was
sealed.
just gonna say.
Oh
W3
crap!
or-
And it's a W3, not a TW3.
Yep.
Dude, the W3 is like one of my favorite subs of all time for SQ.
It sounds
They have a
great.
range.
I am going to be changing it out for the new Adire Audio is coming out with a new smaller motor XBL sub, so I'm going to change it out for that just to get that XBL linearity for the low end.
Yeah.
But
low
no,
end
the
extension.
system sounds fantastic. I competed in sound quality for the first time at Sundown Show. I got a 69.75 in Mecca, which isn't that hot, and I got a 178 in Iasca, which also isn't that great, but it's decent. But the cards were kind of stacked against me, so it was a 3x event for Mecca and Iasca, and literally multiple world champions who competed in sound quality were there. Jeez. So the judges listened to their stuff first, and then mine.
Yeah.
So you should have tried the dueling demos instead.
So with something like sound quality, it's all subjective. It's all subjective. So what the judge thinks. So if the judge listens to the best of the best of the best first, and then listens to my brand new system,
your flaws are gonna be more pointed out. Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
We like the underdog, though. You know what I mean?
Whereas if you listen to mine first, it would have made the other guy's system sound better.
Mm-hmm.
True.
But no, I'm happy with it. We have an hour of tuning in it, and it's, like I said, the best sounding system I've ever owned. I am gonna deaden it, do some more tuning, but I'm probably gonna have to change out. I'm leave the amps in there, but I'm gonna have to change out. I'm gonna have to use a different DSP because the IQ amps, they're just old. Unfortunately, they're 7, 8 years old now.
Yeah.
So good amps though. They'll be like it's holding stack them back. Yeah,
they're great amps, and we have them in a bunch of vehicles, but they're just, you can't pick the individual frequency that you can adjust. And whenever you're at this level, you need to be able to pick individual frequencies, like 355 hertz, not 350 or 360. I need 355.
DSP on there.
That's when you almost need to move the speaker for the length, instead of trying to adjust the DSP.
Yeah,
but,
so
hey, that's just me. That's SQ stuff, man. That's for the birds.
They're about as good as they can get currently without going super extreme, because they're all laser aligned to my face. Brad Knobloch did all that, and he's a very high level sound quality competitor, so he did all that. But like I said, just the lack of tunability currently is the only thing kind of holding me back. But it's not. That's something down the road. I'm going to reach the limits of everything else.
Right.
Yeah. So you can put like a laser mount where the speaker's going to be, and have it aim at your face or head or whatever. And that's the direction the speaker's going to aim.
See, I always do mine as I always do mine what would be a center point to like where the middle of a sunroof would be personally.
Yeah, I mean, and for demo vehicles or 2-seat vehicles, that's great. Mm-hmm. But mine is designed for the driver because it's my truck. I want it to sound good for me. That's all I care about. Yeah, I don't care about the passenger seat at all.
And that's what Ed said.
It's harder to do 2 seats anyway. It's harder.
Yeah, 2-seat tuning is even harder. But so I'm going for single seat, make it sound good for my spot. Said at some point I'm going to have to do like a Helix Ultra or some super high end DSP.
I love those things, dude.
I'm not. Well, the Nitro actually has a Helix DSP Pro in it from years ago, and it's fantastic.
I want their new the knob that they have. The
Director?
Called? Yes, dude. That thing is so cool.
Don't get it. It's awful. Don't even trash me. I have one.
Terrible?
And it's not. Yeah, it is. It is such a pain. Now maybe someone smarter than me can figure out how to use it, but I spent weeks trying to get it just to function. And I just, it's like
I was looking at it
in the console of the Nitro. It's just sitting in there now. It's not even, we unplugged it because it kept messing with the settings.
Weirdo.
It's funny how you think sometimes something's gonna be awesome and you get in and you're like, I am.
No, exactly. Yeah, I was so excited to get it. I was like, man, it's gonna be the Nitro. I'm gonna be able to tune it even better, and just headaches. One hot take: I don't run any subs through it, like in the Nitro or Tahoe or anything big. I don't run subs through a DSP ever.
I don't either.
No, I don't have a DSP period as far as I have the Kenwood DDX 906S. And it's got, really well crossovers and time alignment, stuff like that. But I'm at the point now where I need DSP for my front soundstage just for better mids and highs and tweeter differentiation, especially once I do those kick panels.
Yep. Another reason I run DSP is because I've run active in everything I've owned since, I don't know, forever. Because it sounds better and you can time align better. So even the Tahoe,
you can run active with amps too, though. Like certain amps have, the crossover settings.
Which I have amps you can do that. And most of my head units I have can actually run active. Like the JVC Double Din and the Duramax, there's a setting in it to run active in there that I didn't know about until I'd already had it for 6 months. But
dude, people sleep on it. I've had a crap load of JVC Kenwood radios, and I've loved every one of them.
Love JVC and Kenwood radios. Love them.
Mm-hmm. Dude, my entry level
brand,
Kenwood I had in my Corvette, it was like a double din from like 2018. It had time alignment, crazy nice crossovers, high pass, low pass. I had no problems out of any of these radios. Now mine does what my 906S does do what your JVC does every once in a while, where the screen just goes crazy or whatever.
Well, that was actually that's a Pioneer in the Tahoe because I was in it when I bought it, and it just hasn't broken yet. That's the only reason I haven't changed it. It just hasn't broken yet.
Every once in a while, mine just shits its pants, but you turn it off back on, she's good.
But now with the radio shortage going on, I don't want it to break.
I'm scared too. That's what I'm glad it ended up being like a shorted out RCA behind my dash, and I was like, if this radio was dying,
dude,
the
amps went to 120 volts on the 7500s.
Yeah, so I popped one.
And that's one of our favorite head units were. Mine is the 800 PRS, the original gold chassis from Pioneer.
Seems like everyone loved that PRS.
That one, and I had a Pioneer Premier way before that. The one where the screen like slid down and had another screen behind it. Oh, I love that one too.
I like
all the old Premier stuff was amazing, and the old Alpine stuff too.
My biggest fan is the Rockford single din and rebrand radios that had the copper chassis and stuff like that. Yep. And then those are super nice. There's a couple of them that have. I'm trying to keep my eyes peeled on them that have input for RCA, and I'm like, I can do a Bluetooth module and RCA, and I'm like, I can rock that old radio, but people want a fortune for those things, and like I'm not going to want to shit on it.
Yeah.
I tell you what radio I'm really liking is that I got the new Sony high power radio in the Sonoma.
Mm-hmm. Not only those new Sony radios look great.
Are you not running a Fortune?
I saw the new ES line in person. Dude, those new ES components look fucking great.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah.
No, the Sonoma.
They didn't tell nobody about making any of the Sony products, man. They came out of nowhere, like, hey, in like 1 month, all this stuff is dropping.
I saw it on Facebook at first.
The high-powered Sony's been out for years. I used to
we had an original high-power Sony that we still have it, but it's in Jordan Acosta's 170 dB van right now, so we don't. It's just sitting in there, but. Yeah, so I got the Sonoma. I decided I want to do all kicker in it. So I did all the kicker, KS dash speakers, CS door speakers, and the passive radiator box. All right, well, the subs sound good. The mid-highs are okay. And I had a Kenwood radio in there. I'm like, it needs a little more volume. So I figured that Sony radio would be perfect. And it was. It's the perfect daily system that was super simple.
Woke it up big time, didn't it?
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
So I like the transition here. Let's take in, if you don't mind, I'm going to pop in some of these pictures. You see if we can touch base on some of these and see what's going on.
I dare you.
Boom, 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 boom.
It's like Drew's bare ass.
So we got
the
McNasty box. We talked
about
McNasty. That's what this box is?
That was that truck we called the McNasty because it was yellow and we normally had red lights on in it, so we called it the McNasty.
You said it was all
2-1-4.
It was
15 T2s?
And it was 2,500 BDs, I'm assuming?
Yeah, it was 6 T215s on 3 T2500s with 4 excess power D3100s.
And I think this was before the BDCPs, so those weren't even constant power ones.
It was BDC. They were the original BDCPs. They had
just They had the Demore.
Yep.
Yeah, those. I'm gonna have to have one day a BDCP 2500 just for those.
I think I sent you a picture of the back of the truck, and you can see the VU thing on the back.
What's up with that guy?
Digital VU meter they had.
That's a Phi N318. That was one of the original 18s out of my PT Cruiser.
Nice.
Oh wow, look at that motor. That's cool looking.
I was looking like a chunky soup right there.
That's really good.
Hungry.
Hey, bro, I was living broke back in the day.
No, dude. I was the first shop I worked at, bro. I was so poor. I would like open a can of cold chunky soup and just eat it like that, bro.
Yep.
Done that.
That was So the guy who built that for me, that was Brett's the dude. That's the guy who had that original loud system I heard. Brett Arsenault. He was a DD guy. He was actually one of the first people to play music over a 60 that I'm aware of.
Wow.
Yeah, that was all back with the Kinetic 2400s and old like 10-volt demos. And that was for a DD 95Z18.
Is that Baja Blast, my guy?
Oh hell yeah, dude!
Sorry,
today.
I saw the green. I was like, ooh.
Now, is this your truck?
What is this? Audio
No,
pipe?
that was a customer build at Innovative Audio when I was first kind of messing with designing stuff and trying to figure out what worked and what didn't work. So we went real big port.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's
That is huge.
We went real big and
tuned to the moon.
basically, hey, he loved it.
But on the same note, though, now don't get me wrong. Let's say with this door closed, you're technically kind of adding, you're shrinking the port down with it loading into that door there. Am I correct?
Yep. I mean, back then that was nothing I ever thought about.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people don't realize. I tell people, like you'll see somebody cram this like crazy T-line thing in there, then they cram it in their trunk, and like, bro, you actually just extended the dog's snot out of your port because now you're loading it in that corner. It's going around here and coming around. Like you just had this. Your tuning's gonna be way off what you think it is because.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Yeah, when I got my first Solo Xbox, it was like a prefab Solo Xbox. I never seen it anywhere else, but it was literally a prefab Solo Xbox, and the port was almost that big. It was 20 square inches per cube, only 3.5 cubes or something like that, tuned to 54 hertz. So, but being packed in that tight hatchback back there, it helped with, all that port area. I didn't need it. So it worked for quite a while.
Those weren't actually DC subs. Those were the Phi N3s. I just changed out the sticker a lot.
Nice.
On desk caps because we had a vinyl machine. So I'd put DC or DD or Phi. I would change it every now and then just to make it look different.
What were they? There was a
Phi N3s.
Yeah,
Phi N3s.
Well,
were those Neos or is that Ferrite?
Subs.
Is that Neo or Ferrite?
Neo.
Neo, I thought so because of the cool.
Dude, I love FI subs. I wish the wait wasn't so long.
I've seen them in my lanes. They do pretty good. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That was a Rockford truck. They would do that pretty consistently.
Innovative.
Yeah, it's kind of funny talking about consistency on popping windshields. It's cool, but on the
Cigar
same
Joe.
views. Yeah, I'm about to say, I got to bring up Cigar Joe. This guy like popped like 3 in a week. It's like the first one's cool, but after you do 2 more, not even trying.
The first one's great, and then after that, you're like, all right, I need this to stop.
Yeah, I need more bracing.
See, I'm scared. I'm at the point now where like I'm getting windshield flex from Firewall Flex, and what sucks about that in Excursion is like I learned it from Ground Pounder. You have to pull the windshield out to fix and brace that. So it's I'm either gonna pop it, fix it, and then put another one out, hopefully. But hopefully it doesn't pop anytime soon. But yeah, so this is that insane truck. It's kind of crazy. You can almost date it just from the install here. Like if you had just the Rockford amps, they'd be okay. It could be a new build, but those old AGMs kind of.
And then that was a T1004 that was floating in the middle, dude.
Nice.
One of the big 4 channels they had.
And that's the same build from the right here.
Nope, that's the PT Cruiser 218s. That's the Nitro when I first painted it.
Oh wow, nice.
I have a thing for white walls. I don't know. Everyone around me does black walls and they paint it, so I was done white.
Makes the subs look bigger, really. I think when it's all black, it's kind of just all blends together.
Yep. Yeah,
I didn't just paint it at all.
Oh man, it was so pretty back then.
Bobby,
I'm just not good with paint, man. I get it everywhere, and it's like I make a mess.
Bobby, I appreciate you keeping the lookout for me, buddy, on the old Hondas, but I can already have commitment issues. You can't finish one, and I get tagged in every first gen or old Honda in the whole entire world. I promise you, everyone.
Here's another project for you.
They're like, I bought a whole last one just for interior parts, bro, and then just scrap the rest. That's the same. That's the Rockford box.
Yep, that was putting it together.
So
was it 3-to-1?
Wow.
Yeah, looks like it.
No,
2.5.
no idea. Don't remember.
Huh.
But ratio doesn't matter.
Don't. I learned that recently. That's pretty crazy. Yeah,
ratio doesn't. Ratio's a byproduct of other factors, and not something to be aimed for.
Nope.
And that's one thing like the cookbook and stuff like that. Other things preach stuff like that. There's for everybody there's a magic ratio number. Like there's not really a ratio number that you shoot for. And then the speaker's characteristics, like the MM and a lot of other things in the QES can change what you need.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the first fourth orders I ever did right there. That was 4 Mojo 15s. As I first worked at Innovative Audio.
I bet you it looks great.
I bet
you it sounded great.
It did a 53 something in a crew cab truck with like a single 3500.
Nice.
And a cool
I used to deal Memphis, man, and they I always really liked Memphis products. I feel like it kind of went downhill over the years, but I'm still a fan of the orange and black, man. I think.
So
Yeah, it's cool.
it's funny. So that 415's blow through was what started one of my best friendships I still have to this day with a dude named Jonathan Lott. Like, he was the best man at my wedding. Great dude. It was also a 415's blow through in a Chevy crew cab that started my other really great friendship with Stephen Duncan.
Nice.
So both two of my best friendships I have to this day started with 415's blow throughs and Chevy trucks. I just find that kind of funny.
Yeah.
What does Steve have in his car? Steve Duncan. What's he having?
Oh,
The white truck is 7 PSI platform 515s on 7 Sundown 7500s.
it slaps. It's ridiculous.
480 amp hours of LTO, 10 banks of excess power super caps, and 3 billet 390s from Brand X. Does a 67 or 69.9 or 66.9, something like that.
And it's all steel, right?
I'm guessing that's a 6-order.
Nope, flat
Or
wall.
just the roof is steel.
That's just a flat wall. Really?
Flat wall. The entire cabin is the enclosure, and then there's just a normal bed cover over the bed, and all the batteries and amps are back there.
Makes sense.
So the roof is steel, but everything else is normal. So like still super plush seats, plush dashboard, normal door panels, nothing crazy.
Right. And
These
people
motos-
they forget that the cabin's part of the enclosure too. You know what I mean?
And then his
really
other
is.
build is 12 Nightshade version 315s on 4 Crossfire 16Ks with a 300 amp hour C-Max and 3 billet 290s. Yeah.
I thought I was in a dot. There's a guy behind me when I was demoing that at Sundown, and I don't think Duncan was kind of looking at him, and he kept turning it up a little bit. And I picked the camera up and I looked behind me, and this guy, every time the bass hits, he was like seizing up. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, Steven,
It's so fun.
I don't get in vans anymore. I have nothing to prove anymore. I don't get in vans.
See, actually, the first time I met you was at Bayou Showdown, and like last year or was it 2 years ago? Bayou, Casey, 2019, I think Bayou Showdown.
Last year.
It was last year, 2020. Yeah, I guess when I drove out there to when you got the FI subs. But it was last year. But so I just got like beat to death in Duncan's van, and then like you go in and like I didn't even say what's up to you. I didn't even really know who you were then, but like you sit in that motherfucker like just chilling. I'm like, what is wrong with this guy, dude? Like,
oh, I'm broken. Oh, I know that I'm broken.
like
it hurts. Like it still it hurts because I'm not going to tap out. I'm not doing it. So you're just going to play until either you turn it down or I pass out. That's the only 2 options here.
That's hilarious.
And I almost
how your tolerance goes up now. Like,
I kind of hate it. Like, it sucks because like I'll get in my Tahoe and like I know it's loud, but after going to a big show, I'll drive it. And I'm like, it needs to be louder. It kind of sucks.
Well,
but it's playing music over a 60. But I was like, this kind of sucks.
See, I'm playing music in high 50s, but like I do, but like it's a different build. Like I don't know. I get into my stuff after I sit in somebody. I've sat in people that are quieter than me but windier, and I'm like, fuck, I wish I was windy.
So that's kind of how the Nitro is. So the Nitro will play music over 60, but it's got to be sealed up and shut. But it'll do it. But it feels more painful than my Tahoe does by a large margin, just because the cabin is so small and it loads so aggressively off the passenger side.
It's crazy how that can happen too, man. And I like to give people a comparison. Like for instance, when I had the no wall 415 set up in the Excursion, I was on a 146, and that was on a 4K. I did a 146, and then it's a huge thing. Whatever, it wasn't loud, but I did a 146 in my Corvette with a single 15 on 800 watts. You know, it's like totally. Now the demo, there's no comparison how much better the 415 demo was. It had bandwidth, it was louder, all that stuff. But as far as physically burping on a meter, they're the same loudnesses, but like they're not even comparable really if you listen to music on them.
That's the same way like you get in a no wall. I sat in Sonny Smith's no wall in that Jeep, and I was like, this hurts, dude. I don't like this. I was like, it's way too loud. Doing
have any of y'all gotten Jordan Acosta's van yet?
Mm-mm.
No.
I saw it online.
Is it no wall?
No, it's B-pillar wall. It's 12 Def Bonds 15s on 12 7500s.
Jesus Christ.
It plays music. We've seen a 71 out of it on music.
See, that's what I get into.
Wow.
And it can sit at a 66 to 69 on music until you turn it down. Like that's the only thing stopping it. It's just at what point do you get tired of playing it? It's kind of absolutely ridiculous. So that was the only time I almost tapped out. We were at finals 2019. I get in it. Everyone else getting demos, tapping out. I'm like, all right, I'll show them how it's done to not tap out. Well, a minute and 45 seconds into this demo at 168 dB, I'm like, all right, I really can't breathe right now. This kind of sucks. I was like this close to passing out. He turned it down. I was like, oh, thank God.
And then all the life came back into you. You're like, I'm okay now.
That was the last time that I got in the van for the most part. I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm good. I'm done.
It's like, do I hold my breath or do I try to breathe?
I'm not getting in it.
Yeah, well, trailering ain't fair because me and Jordan have driven that 170 dB van to shows before.
Touché.
So, but if you have a van, I'm not getting in it. I'm not getting
That's dirty. You're like, oh, they drove it here. It's gonna be fun to sit in.
They drove it here. It's safe. It's not safe.
Yeah. You just get in there and die.
Like the radio for the front of the van isn't even the same radio that controls the subs. Like you cannot turn the subs on from the front of the van because it didn't want to. They didn't want to risk something being able to happen and it being able to do a full tilt while you're driving it.
Right, the head unit could go. Something could
because it would absolutely just incapacitate you if you're not expecting it and it hits you with that much pressure. You're just not gonna be. You're not gonna know what to do.
It's kind of
crazy
now. I don't know how
guys drive with 163, 165s. You know,
even
what I mean?
high 150s, bro.
You're driving that as a daily. Yeah, like, I can't see the road. You know what I mean?
You get kind of used to it, unfortunately. Well, I only turn it up on straightaways and when I'm on the highway. So like, if I know that, like, I'm not gonna play it making turns normally. Like, I know I've learned how to play it because I've had vehicles that loud for, that PT Cruiser I built 8 years ago did a 59 or 58 right in that area, and it just so I've had loud stuff like that for a decade. So I've learned how to not drive and put myself at risk. I guess the best way to put it.
It'll catch you off, dude. Like the first time I started getting my brake pedal pushed down a little bit, kind of threw me off. I feel like my truck was kind of hopping going down the road or taking and kind of blur your vision a little bit. And it's not as bad as Casey's. Casey will blur the shit out of my vision, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't drive Casey's like turned up because that's just too windy. Like you can't even you're like this.
That's how he drives anyway. Though he's blind as fuck, so he's got his fucking bifocals on. Oh
no.
The worst thing is driving a stick on like a hill with the bass go, and you can't feel the engine speed. You don't want to burn the clutch out.
What's up with this thing going on? We got the kicker.
So I was 16. I bought that system from a local guy. I call him a friend of mine, but he's not my friend no more. But I bought that from a local guy for super cheap. A local shop named All Pro Audio built it. The box was not great. But man, you couldn't tell me I wasn't the loudest guy on the block.
For a starter system, dude, that's loud as shit, dude. I mean, like I had like a 10 in high school. I'm like, I'm getting it, bro.
It was two L715s on the original, like one of those original Memphis 1000s that had like the chrome plate across the top.
Yeah, the Bel Air amps.
And then those were 4 Pioneer D series 6x9s that I had running off of like an old Eclipse 4 channel. Or something.
Dude, these are amazing.
It's probably just way over drowning rear sound stage.
You couldn't tell me I wasn't the loudest person.
And those are silk domes too.
For what it was, it sounded great. I mean, like I said, you couldn't tell me I wasn't the loudest person on the block. That's just a fact.
I feel like those kind of systems with the subs firing in, port firing in, you get like a wider bandwidth.
That's that 95 Z18 that I had. Single 18. Doing a 54 something in a PT Cruiser.
Nice.
Back whenever I cared about SPL and scores.
Yeah, it looks like it's tuned pretty high.
I think I'm done with it.
Yeah, I want to give 5 people on my truck and give demos. That's all I care about.
I got it feels fun, but there's so like Base Wars has made me enjoy competition a little bit more. But I still don't compete. I buy entries and give them away just to support the industry at this point. But no, it's SPL just. So much drama in the competition scene and just so much BS with it. I enjoy going just hang out and give demos.
You can burp a demo rig. You can't demo a SPL rig.
That's a fact.
And they were demoing Derek's truck with the U's on the.
It's not much of a demo. All I do is go bang.
It's just like he turns up just like a quarter of the way, and the person's like. It's like dying in there. Like,
dude, not even pleasurable.
I do multiple song demos back to back, like full volume. Let's fucking do this. Then that's what I like to do. Obviously there's people way louder than me, stuff like that. But dude, I sit in some of these cars and like 30 seconds in, you're feeling their subs are cool to begin with, and they're like heat. And you're like, bro, we've been playing it for a minute, bro. That's Drew. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Dude.
me whenever I really turn it up because I have so much power on tap that I can melt the coils in half if I want to.
I guess
Yeah.
reserve is not a bad thing to have, really.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
4 7500s at 0.33 on 6 3-inch coils. So,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's way too much.
and then my problem is like I have a demo volume that's like an upper 50, like it's super loud, and I can play it for an hour and it's fine. But people don't want to hear that. They want to hear this thing on the sauce. They want to hear it turned up.
Right.
It's funny too how you'll be going. I don't know if anybody's guilty of this. I'll be going to the show. I'll be turning my stuff a little bit down. I'm like, I'm just going to turn it up only for the people that I want to give a sauce to. And then I'll give a couple demos and not full sauce. And then that one person gets in, I'll crank it up, and then just the rest of the show is just all the beans.
Like the random
Yeah,
dude.
because
who,
then the next
walks
guy
into
wants
the
the
show.
beans too.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I have a voice coil sensor from Mike, and that thing has helped me be able to demo harder without being as fearful of breaking something.
Yep, ahead of
What is
time
it?
if you're
Explain
going too
that.
hard. I got one on mine too, man. It's
So
godsend.
the voice coil sensor is the best creation ever.
Dude.
It's a thermal
It's a-
sensor, am I correct? It's pretty much the.
It's an infrared voice coil sensor that I have attached to one of my middle subs. It tells me exactly how hot the coil is.
Wow. So
How do
you
you-
got the
what?
Steve Meade one, right?
No, I have the Mike DeGuardo one. So
Mike DeGuardo,
Steve
okay.
never came out with something like that. He has a temperature sensor, but it's a probe that has to be directly attached to whatever it is.
See, that's kind of
Yeah.
what I have. I just pretty
Yeah.
much made my own for $20.
I want to
This
say
is
it's
a-
Somebody
Yeah.
send me a link, bro.
I got
Yeah,
you
they
guys.
have them.
So
Might
mics
make a
aren't for
video
sale.
on
You can't buy mics.
What?
Mics.
Infrared, that's pretty cool because that probably goes through the motor. Through.
Well, yeah. So
to
the
see
little
through the
sensor
coil.
sits on like the like you can see the coil of a ZV5 through the vents. So it sits on that vent opening, aiming at the coil.
Okay, so
That's
pretty
wild,
close.
dude.
Yeah, mine's just up in
So-
the center pull piece.
Yeah.
close
So
enough.
Mike has been these are the V2s, and they've been in beta for 2 years now. I think there's 9 of them altogether, and 8 of them are on Team Notorious, which is my team.
Wow.
And the
That's
other
crazy.
no, there's
See, I
two
think-
more that aren't on the team that aren't with us. Another
Does it give you a
local guy
temperature
named-
reading
Yeah, it's an exact
Yeah.
temperature reading of the
of
voice
the
coil.
coil and the motor?
Just the coil. I
whatever
don't
it's
care
shooting
about
at.
the motor.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude, my motors get up to like 200, 220 degrees with the gun. And
That's
then the
good.
coils
That
just,
means they're working.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And the coils
Yeah, the
will
motors
stay
do.
like
Now,
100,
There
110.
is someone who does make voice coil sensors like Mike's. I can't remember his name, which Jimmy Pittman knows who he is because Jimmy Pittman has a 4 sensor unit from him, so it has 4 voice coil sensors on it.
Oh wow,
Dude.
that's cool.
I
See,
can't
I
remember
think
this
more
guy's name.
people would buy them if the
Take
price
my
was
money.
a little bit lower. It's the
I
price is very high for because
I don't even give a
out
shit
there.
about the price.
I don't care about the
anymore
price,
because
See, and
the
Casey,
subs
that's
are
what I told Mike.
$1,000 a piece.
I don't think people care about the price.
It's the same
Oh,
thing with
yeah.
Some
Owen
people
and stuff
do.
Like that.
But
Same thing with
you
Owen.
I mean,
guys like-
within reason.
You get guys
Right.
like Casey, Scott, or me, or even with you with a Solo X, if you can see the coil, you have
Yeah.
$1,000 subwoofer, multiple $1,000 subwoofers.
Yeah.
What's $250 for a voice coil sensor? Whenever a Recon is $250.
Dude, $250
Yep.
I will send it right
Yep.
now. Where?
That's what- that's
I
what-
thought we were talking like 400 or 500.
No,
I know.
dude,
I was tired of
I've been-
reaching back, checking it. I'm like, okay, I
I've
already
been
know
telling
what I'm
Mike
doing.
for years, bro. If you put it even
Dude.
out at $400, they would sell.
400 is a
Boom,
kit.
boom.
You had a whole kit where I didn't have to buy shit, and I had like the display
Yeah.
and all this stuff ran. I
Yeah.
would buy for $400.
You could have a
No,
one
I'm
sub kit,
telling you.
4 sub kit.
That's what I
6
did with the
sub
Spark
kit.
thing. Like I had to do my fans, my buttons, all that stuff. I was like, "Hey Ed, you've got this whole fucking kit where I don't have to do anything but plug it all together and make it look nice."
He bought
me
it,
up,
yeah.
dog. Yeah.
Sign
And
me
convenience is
up.
key.
That day.
Well, that's what I have the switch panel from Ed, and I have one of the original 4-channel relay boxes because it's all plug and play. I'm like, give me that. I need
I'm
that.
getting the fan controller now, dude.
Yeah.
I started
Oh, yeah.
like day
Oh
one.
yeah. So I was in the room whenever they announced it, and I was looking at it like, how much to buy that one? I want that one right there, right now.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah,
it's
I
all
was
plug and
I
play.
bought the display fan.
Yeah, when I was at
He's like,
Slam,
I need
was
fans so
I need
bad.
fans. I need the controller,
Fanny.
and they're like, "We're sold out." I'm like, "I'll take these, dude. Like, how much? Like, and I
Yeah.
didn't even ask for a deal. I was like, "I'll take what you got right now." Like, come on.
Give me these off the display board. Let's
He
go.
did. I pulled out a pocket knife and cut the wires, bro. He's like, "Here you go, dude." I'm like, "Awesome." But it's been a great
Thanks, sounds
business.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, like now it's opened other doors for stuff. I mean, like Ed's a fucking. They're great guys, and then is a business
Oh, yeah.
wicked dude. But hey, we're coming up on that hour mark. We'll probably go over a little bit. If somebody wants to get a hold of Drew Jones at Baseaholic, someone wants to get a design enclosure, how can they get a hold of you, bro?
Well, Baseaholic Facebook, Instagram, YouTube technically, but no one ever really reaches me out to me on there. Or baseaholic.com if you want to see some of the builds that we've done and some other projects and stuff like that we have going on, along with merchandise. And I do sell some built-in closures currently, but they're kind of limited just because the price of wood has skyrocketed. So I'm not trying to charge an arm and a leg for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, mainly through Facebook currently and email, drew@baseaholic.com.
Awesome.
It's
Dude,
worth the wait.
Oh, right at the very end, we got a little
there
JP
unfortunately, there is a wait. What's up, bro? But so in the last year, we've had 5 to 6 or more designers quit designing for various reasons, this and that. You know, so it's not my place to share why, but we've had 5 or 6 quit. Hunter Martin being the one of the latest ones, also one of the other biggest names in designing. Dude's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
So we've had 5 or 6 designers quit, and then demand has done nothing but go up. Car audio is growing consistently currently.
Yeah.
So I'm doing what I can to keep up, but man, it's rough. It's rough out here.
Oh yeah, everything, man. Like same thing with us, man. Like I'm just playing the waiting game, dude. And the prices are just going up. The only thing it's doing is prices go up. That's all it is.
Which unfortunately, I think I may have to go for pricing soon, just to try to help slow it down. But I don't see it helping any, just because I've formed such great relationships with so many great companies like Sundown, PSI, even Kicker, DD. All these companies will send people my direction to help with stuff, or like if you go to Sundown's website, my logo is on the homepage.
Sure.
Yeah.
So within reason, bro. It's what you value your time and your labor at, though, Drew. It's just that, like I sell Snap-on tools for a living. I sell $30,000 toolbox. You know what I mean?
I'm aware. I had one.
Yeah. If you value it to the customer, you got the value there. They've got the features and benefits. They know they're getting the Drew Goins box. I think you could charge. I would have. I'm being straight up with you. The price tag you told me on my Civic box, I would have paid double that, dude. I'm being straight up with you. Like,
and I've had a lot of people tell me that, but my thing is, like, I don't want to go to that high, and then it makes it unobtainable for people who don't have the type of budget.
Depends on. You need to. But you can scale that, though, Drew. I'm not trying to tell you what to do like that, but you can be like, hey,
you can give me all. Hey, you can whatever advice you got. I'll listen. I take advice and I listen to everybody because everybody knows something I don't know. At the end of the day, I learn something every day from somebody.
I think you need to have a price point. Like, how crazy do you want to go with this box? Do you want to do bracing? You want to do acrylic windows? You want to do all that jazz? And you just doing check boxes, bing, 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 pretty much. And like that's your flat cost. When you got an acrylic window, your price is going up this much, dude, just by adding the window on it. Yeah, stuff like that.
I'm going to figure something out. It's probably going to be towards the end of the year. I'm going to figure something out just to help with the time delay. Because that's why I tell people before they pay. I'm like, look, it's minimum 10 to 15 business days, but it is most likely beyond that at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, it's worth the wait. And you're not only getting the design, like, you get the experience. And then also, I don't know if y'all haven't got a Drew Baseaholics design yet, but it comes with, like, the entire cut sheet. Like, it's fucking foolproof. Like, it literally tells you, and it spaces out on each sheet of wood. So you're not wasting wood. It shows you 4x8 sheet, and then it'll show you
not wasting wood is one of the biggest things currently. Huge. Whenever the price of wood skyrocketed, people were coming to me like, hey, they're like, oh, I normally wouldn't buy a design, but if you could just save me one sheet of wood, it'll pay for itself.
Yeah, exactly. And it really does, dude. It does.
Yeah, especially whenever wood was $100 a sheet.
Yeah.
I take it back now. Casey, I have had a Drew Jones design box, bro. My Golds box was a Drew Jones box design.
Which one?
The 415 box.
No, it wasn't.
I thought you got
that was Tony Dolgar.
Oh, sorry, Drew. Not
Ultra Sounds, yeah. He was the Resilient Sounds guy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I thought I got lucky.
So you're talking about Snap-on boxes. A buddy of mine has a box.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's the exact model?
Can you say that again, but slower and stare into the camera?
It's not Epic. It's a Master. Triple bay with the power cabinet and then another cabinet on the other side. It was like $19,000 or something ignorant like that.
I can show you a couple of big ones. I've sold Mr. Biggs. I've got pit wagons.
Good Lord.
The Mr. Biggs are sick, bro. The pit wagons are cool too. Those big old wheels.
The new pit boxes, A, have disc brakes. B, take out.
Wait. You say disc brakes?
Yes, disc brakes. Electronically controlled disc brakes for pulling it behind like a pit wagon. But
it makes sense. It gets pretty heavy.
Yeah. So when you put the arm down, it engages electronic, or put it up. I'm sorry. So when it's down, you can pull it around, like if you're at like a racetrack or something like that. And then when you put it up, it electronically locks the brakes. You have air controlled jacks that lift the box up off the tires. So if you have a tire damage, you won't dump your box. It has TSW 17-inch wheels on it and a step bar. Yeah.
Why
No,
does this box cost as much as my house?
Because it says
Yeah,
Snap-on on it.
insane.
Yeah. So like this was a pretty big one I sold. That was pretty good.
That's
cool.
Our
That's
buddy
Adam's
Adam
box.
Clinton.
Yeah.
Now, is
Yeah,
the left
he's a
part, is that
great
the
guy.
fridge? That's what I want to know. Is the left part
That's a
the
locker.
fridge?
It's got a bunch of stuff in it. And then this one here is one of my favorite ones I did though. The teal
That's
and
a
purple.
sick ass color, dude. And then the roll.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
that same roll cart, but it's what did I get? The gray one.
Now
It's the
I've
best
done
box I've ever
technically
had.
like longer boxes than that one or like wider out, but those are like two of the ones I really like the most.
Yeah, they're cool.
But
Yeah,
heck
I got a classic '96. I was lime green with black trim for a smoking deal. Right after my buddy bought that bright orange Master Series,
His
the
trade
dude's
or
like,
something.
the dude was like, he's like, if I sell one more box, I get gold, whatever it is.
It'd be a different level of dealer, like a platinum dealer.
Yeah,
platinum
he was going up a level. He was like, I'll sell you this one for like, it was like 75% off or something. It was apparently
Nice.
he'd been sitting on it for like a year. He said.
Dude, sometimes you gotta unload them, but the hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
The obviously I've just got like a 2-bank classic box in the garage that I got from. I got a box that before we
That
wrap
box
up.
hasn't been opened in 2 years.
Yeah, it's been opened, but
Don't lie.
no, I got that box. It was a warranted out box. So I had a guy. His dad's got a Snap-on box, a classic 2-bank, red with chrome trim. You know, got the wood top on it and everything. And the customer, I met him since he was an apprentice for his dad. He's like, dude, I want a toolbox just like my dad. I'm like, man, I'm the guy. I got you. We'll make it happen. I'm going to custom order you your own box. We need one just like your dad's, but brand new.
That's
So this
awesome.
like 3-month period goes by, and you know when you custom order a box, it goes to like a third-party ship company where they like literally bring it to your freaking shop. Like a big rig truck shows up and they like literally unload it and all that stuff. This guy's on Facebook Live. Guys, I'm getting ready to unload my dad's toolbox just like mine. We're gonna be matching all that stuff. And then they pull the cover off of it, and there's forklift holes in the front drawer. Yeah. So yeah. So they're on Facebook Live, and this toolbox is just fucking wrecked in the front of it. And then yeah, it actually ended up like getting somebody in trouble at like the packing and receiving jobs because they messed it up with a forklift. And instead of being like, "Ooh, I messed up," didn't tell on themselves, they repackaged the toolbox and sent it out the door. But what they didn't think about is it's tied to all those boxes when they go out. They're tied to the packer and all that stuff. So like they obviously knew that who it was. But I thought I'd share that experience. Made me think about it. But dude, I have something I got to do. We're a little over the hour mark now. Drew, I appreciate your time, dude. Killer episode, man. Like seriously,
Hey, man,
your time.
I enjoy doing stuff like this. You know, it's not very often that I get to talk to other humans in person normally because I sit at home a bunch.
Touche.
That's been one downfall of working from home for the last 4 years is I'm home a lot.
It's comfortable here though.
It's not bad. My wife didn't understand what it was like until COVID hit, and she's been to the office like 4 times since March of last year, maybe 5 times. So she's at home with me a lot. And so at first she's like, "Oh, this isn't bad." Well, 6 months in, it's kind of bad sitting at home every day.
You still sitting there with this boxes?
Yeah. Dude, I did that. I run the tool route though. I think I didn't go. There was need. I shortened my days. I was going in at like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, you know, because half the shops were closed. But I worked the whole time. But I was pretty fortunate I was able to do that. But dude, we're gonna wrap this puppy up. This is episode 12. I got to get out. We got something to do. It's Friday night. Everyone have a fantastic night. Episode 12. Our special guest Drew Jones. Hit him up. Get an closure from him. I appreciate everyone's time. Now we're gonna go ahead and end this bad boy.
Thanks for watching.
Sounds good.